Thank you for tuning in, and welcome to another episode of Painting Primaris Dark Angels. So, Wolfe, sorry if I butchered your name there, asked me how I did this campaign badge on this Sergeant's leg, the Dark Angel icon with the less square wings, so to say. And actually, what happened on this guy's leg was that I was doodling while waiting for wash to dry on another model. But the technique used is really easy and quite fun. So we'll use this Sergeant for our example. And I'm gonna use a brush with a really fine tip, some Citadel Celesta Gray, some Citadel White Scar, and a bit of Lamane Medium. I also have some Caliban Green on hand in case I need to do some cleanup. And I find that campaign markings, whether they be freehand or transfers, are a great way, especially for Dark Angels, to make them seem like proper Space Marines, basically knights in power armor. They have some personal heraldry or campaign badges to show their achievements. Same goes, I guess, for Black Templars and Space Wolves and such. I really like that, and even better, as this army is really speed painted. Some variation here and there make it seem like a lot more time went into painting than was actually the case, because just some different symbols here and there on the sergeants makes every unit seem like you put a lot of thought into them, even if you were just doodling. So first thing I'm gonna do is take some of the Celesta Gray, put it on my wet palette, and mix it up with a bit of Lamane Medium, and then make sure I have a nice tip on my brush. And then I start out by drawing basically a small cross on his leg. That I then proceed to fill out slightly. This is much harder with a camera in between me and the model than it is doing it with the model all the way up in my face, but we'll manage. And it doesn't have to look perfect at this stage at all. Actually, I would be amazed if I managed to make it look like the Dark Angel sword icon in the first go. That's why we start with this light gray base and then come in with the white afterwards. And then to get an idea about the wings, I simply make a curved line following the curve of the knee pad. And again, doodle, have fun with it, play around with it. You could be very, very neat and make it all look good in the first try, but that kind of takes away the idea of this being a relatively relaxed break from mass producing, so to say. So, if you think it looks pretty terrible right now, you're absolutely right. But that's okay, because this is just going to be the shade effect on the actual mark. And once I'm done with this, I'll take a bit of the Caliban Green and clean up the mistakes before I add the white. Like so. Once this is dry, as said, I'll take some Caliban Green and just fix up the lines a bit so it looks right, and then we'll come in with the white scar. So I used the Caliban Green to fix up the edges, and it already looks much better, I think. So next up, we're taking the white scar, getting a bit of it on the palette, and again use a tiny bit of Lamane Medium just to break it up a bit. And then I generally start out here on the most accessible wing and start basically highlighting the icon. And finally, I'm gonna let it dry and then come back in with the Caliban green again, just to fix up stuff like this little feather, or what you want to call it, that seems to be a bit too thick compared to the rest. And after that, it's done. So here we have it. And I guess the rule of thumb when doing stuff like this is it has to be fun. I mean, if you're trying to get an army done, do stuff like this as a break from the production line, doodling a bit, listen to some music or an audiobook. Don't force yourself to add these to this or that amount of minis. Just here and there when you feel like it, because it's not really a part of the speed painting plan. It's a distraction. It's a great way to keep it fun when you're doing a ton of Marines that pretty much look exactly the same. And I think it makes the end result of the army much more unique and having a much more real feel to it. So with that, this sergeant is actually done, so I'll give him some matte varnish and place him with his squad, and you can judge for yourself if you think that this technique works. So here we have my first Hellblaster squad finished up. It's taken, well, including assembly and base coating and the final knee pad mark there, I'd say about 3 to 4 hours went into painting them, so that's okay. And I'm actually quite happy with them. The plasma effect, I'm not sure about. It works tabletop, and that's the most important thing, of course, but I might try something else with future squads. Anyhow, we're here to talk about the leg plate, or the greave, or what you're gonna call it, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. I think it gives the overall look of the squad. Again, as I mentioned, it makes it seem like I spent way more time painting up this squad than I actually did. So yeah, that's it for now. If there is something specific you want me to focus on in a future episode of painting Primaris Dark Angels, let me know in the comments below. And till next time, take care and bye bye.